บสนุนโดย ASUS หลวมนักก็ไขหน่อยแบนเนอร์โปรตีน
Ambassador John, does it make any difference if the next president of the United States is a Republican or a Democrat for ties?
For ties? I don't think so. It's as you look at the leading candidates on the Democrat side, you have Senator Obama, who spent over 6 years in Southeast Asia. He spent 6 years of his youth in Indonesia, so he has a deep and abiding interest in Southeast Asia. And Senator Clinton, when she was in the White House and then in her years in the Senate, also has been out to Southeast Asia. I've been with her in Vietnam, for example, and I know she's been to Thailand. I've seen photos of her up in everywhere in Thailand. So I think you've got the two Democrat candidates are very favorably disposed to Thailand, Southeast Asia. Likewise, on the Republican side, Senator McCain has, since the days of the Vietnam War, has been very interested in furthering relations with Southeast Asia. So I think you've got a field of candidates that is unusually experienced in Southeast Asian issues, which can only help Thailand.
But during the campaigns, we haven't heard much debate on foreign policy, especially towards Asia.
That's normal for a campaign. Well, it's as much as we love Thailand, that's normally not a voting issue when you go out to vote in the primaries. And I think it depends on the year, but this year it's quickly turning into a race about the economy in the United States.
Iraq War and economy, right?
Iraq War has moved down as the issue of the economy has moved up.
Because of the subprime crisis?
I think because, all statistics generally indicate that we're either are in a recession or are entering a recession, and in part due to the subprime crisis. So it's an issue for Americans. We've still had record job creation over the last 6 years, but impressions are everything, and I think that the economy is a major issue for Americans, and generally most campaigns it's about the economy, even if the economy is doing well in the United States, and that's probably true in Thailand too. I mean, people vote with what affects their pocketbooks.
So it's always, is the economy stupid, right? That's a slogan to go.
It's it's the critical issue, and if you take your eyes off of that, you're going to have a very tough time in a campaign.
Should the U.S. have its first female president or its first black president? What would that signal to the world?
Whether they're elected or not, I think we've already sent the signal that for the first time, there really is a viable female candidate for the presidency. For the first time, there is a strong, viable candidate who's African American, and that's already sent a strong signal, which I think is why the world is generally much more interested in the election this year than it's been in past years. It's a fascinating election.
How do you feel with that as an American, that people are really watching this race so closely?
Well, first of all, you feel a little bit of pride. I mean, it's nice to have people watching the election and in a positive way. I think the fact that we're talking about which issues they're focused on shows that it generally is a race, a presidential race that's more focused on issues than it is on personalities. It doesn't hurt things that people have interesting personalities and backgrounds that they're bringing to the race, but it is it's a campaign that's focused on what matters to the American people, which is the economy, healthcare, immigration issues, the Iraq War, terrorism, other foreign policy issues.
Ambassador, do you know any of the candidates personally?
Well, I've been when I was Deputy Assistant Secretary, I was grilled by Senator Obama about Indonesia policy, and he spent 6 years of his youth in Jakarta, so he's very knowledgeable about Indonesia.
The mother is Indonesian, right? Mother or father?
Well, this was I believe his stepfather was from Indonesia. And the Senator Clinton, my wife and I have been with the Clintons many times during their presidency and afterwards. Senator McCain I've met, so those are the only three that I've met. But they're all engaging people. In person, they're as interesting as they are on television.
Wouldn't have come so far if they were not interesting, right?
Right.
But help me, a lot of Thai people have asked me, what is the difference between John McCain, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama for a Thai?
For a time.
If you have to explain, that if one of them becomes president, what would be the difference between one against the other?
Well, I think you're comparing strengths. That's the good news, is that it's not that there's going to be one candidate who wins and is not going to be helpful to the relationship. So the good news is I think you're moving from a basis of strength with all three candidates in terms of engagement internationally and on Southeast Asia specifically. In terms of no one, they haven't really focused on Thai policy, but I think in terms of
Asia in general?
Well, one thing that is very important for Thailand is the health of the U.S. economy.
Right.
We're the number one market for Thai goods. A lot of jobs in Thailand depend on the U.S. economy, and all three are very focused on the economy. Senator McCain has a different way of stimulating the economy. I think he's focused more on different types of tax cuts than Senators Obama and Clinton are focused on. But the foreign policy of all three, they're all stressing engagement overseas. I think they're stressing a lot of dialogue with partners, and I think that for Thais they would find, as usual, maybe even more so, the door to the White House is open for them, and that getting visitors out from Washington, high-level visits out to Thailand, the region is going to continue to stream forward.
So in terms of international trade, are there any differences between these candidates, the main ones?
I think that, Senator Clinton has stated that she would, the free trade agreements that we have negotiated that are on the table with the Senate, she would look at them very carefully. So she's not anti-free trade. In fact, her husband when he was president, was very pro-free trade and negotiated some major free trade agreements. I think that she would be looking, it would just be a review, not a stop of that. Senator McCain, Senator Obama, I think, have all been pro-free trade. And I think the Thais would continue to find markets open. The market is open for them in the United States as well. But the one major message is I think the focus on the economy by all the major candidates, Republican and Democrat, is something that's good for Thailand because if our economy is moving along well, it helps the Thai people.
On the Iraq war, what are the differences between the three or four, including Mitt Romney positions?